Today, I'm going to talk about what is a nervous system, why it's important to care for it, and three things that I do every day to make sure my nervous system is in tip top shape and how it basically helps me age gracefully. My name is Laurie, and I serve high functioning eldest or only daughters and sensitive leaders who come from immigrant or culturally complex families who are successful on the outside but exhausted inside. There is so much going around about nervous system regulation and fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. I just wanted to give y'all a very simple definition of what it is and why it's important so that instead of getting clogged with all of what is hip and different practices that you have to do, instead of making it super complicated, I believe in simple stupid. So let's dive deep into it. In the easiest definition, your nervous system are your nerves, and we have billions of these nerves. You have so many on your skin, especially your fingertips and your feet. And what happens is these nerves are actually transmuting information from all these different, things that you touch and feel into your spinal cord where that's all the nerves kind of go in and then it goes up to your brain, right? So that is what your nervous system is, and there are more complex videos about what it does and all the fun things about it. And just a side note, if you ever get to visit these body world exhibits where they plastify human bodies, I remember seeing one like detached from the body and how it is like, different. It's like almost like roots in your body that go up to a central processing area. So it's really cool if you could visualize it, but it's just this network of lots of cells that are just communicating back and forth with your body and your brain. So, why is it important if it's functioning properly? Well, your nervous system actually controls things like your breath, right? Your breathing, if you're digesting properly. So, if your nerves are constantly in stress mode, they're not really sending signals. They're sending fear signals, or we have to run, or we have to fight. So, what I'm trying to say here is caring for your nervous system is actually making sure that you're not in danger, right? And how do you show your body when you're not in danger? When you're not constantly in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And here's the thing, because when we're stuck in any of those phases or even a few at a time, your nervous system would not be working properly. And so you probably wouldn't sleep right? If you're constantly in fear of doing different things, you wouldn't sleep. And if you can't sleep, you probably can't digest. So think about all these different systems because if you can't sleep, your body can't rejuvenate itself. It means that your brain cannot take out the trash at nighttime. It cannot put away memory. So you have memory loss. If you can't digest, it means that food is not actually getting properly digested or you're not absorbing the nutrients. So it's actually really important that your nervous system stays in tip top shape because it actually impacts everything else in your body. A short story that I can share about my nervous system is that I actually used to struggle a lot from digestive and skin issues. And when I really thought about it, I realized that it was the stress that was making me clench in my stomach. And I was letting things get under my skin. So when you think about it like that, when we let issues that are just, like they might be real, they could be perceived, right? If you worry too much or if you have a deadline, but it's actually not even that close by or it's not even that serious, but that perception that it's danger. I didn't have a good relationship with my body, so I didn't even understand that my stress was manifesting on my body. So when you build that self-awareness and you're better able to see the connection between, because yoga means union in Sanskrit, then we're better able to see how our physical body is hurting and is actually trying to communicate with you. So if you have any physical ailments, normally they're all emotional or mental related. And, when we let them fester, like in the mind, it tends to fester on the body. And that's my short example. I'm sure there will be another episode if you want me to dive deeper into how I was able to resolve those, but nowadays it's pretty cool to eat whatever I want and to not deal with skin issues anymore. So now I want to talk to you about the three things that I do to age gracefully. And I really believe that it's from maintaining a good, healthy nervous system. Because think about it, if you're always in stress mode, if your body is not digesting, if your skin is showing signs of age, it just means that your body is getting depleted. Like something is not working, right? I wonder because, like dolphins have such beautiful glossy skin. Like, yes, they stay in water, but think about just like your skin is an organ. Like it's the first defense for everything else. So if you're not able to even like have good skin, I feel like that is the first sign. And I'm so grateful that I was able to realize this earlier. So the first thing is to do all things with care. I'm going to bring an example that I think is kind of played out, but I think it's so important. So everybody talks about slow mornings. And I don't want to go into detail about my slow mornings, but I really think that taking things slowly and doing things with care is like the ultimate thing for your nervous system. Because think about it. Like, for example, if you had to eat a meal, right? Even if you have to eat a burger sitting in your car, if you're rushing to just stuff it in your mouth and you're even washing it down with, your drink, that is actually stressful eating. But even if you're like, you know what, I'm going to drive my car, I'm going to have a bite, I'm going to chew it thoughtfully. I'm going to, I think they say you have to chew something like 30 times. If you chew it thoughtfully as you're driving, I think it's actually okay. Like, I think it's funny when people say, like, you're not supposed to, like, eat and drive. It's stressful. It's bad for your digestion. But I think with anything, if you do it with care, it's like how you do it matters than doing it. Like, when you do things with care, it's a signal to your nervous system that you have time, that you're not in a rush. And that is so regulating for the nervous system because this should also be a different video, but time is not really real, right? Like when we rush to a place, even if it's like an appointment or whatever, I mean, hopefully you left on time and you're just scared of being a few minutes late, but that time of like, oh, I'm late is a perception and you might be thinking, oh, I'm gonna miss like 5 minutes, or this person might think that I'm not disciplined, whatever it may be. This is just pressure that you're putting on yourself, which is not necessary, I believe. Like, time is a man made invention that I think happened during the Industrial Revolution because they needed people to be on the bus or the train on time. So for those reasons, if you're going to miss a plane or a train, that makes sense. But if you're just, you know, going somewhere or meeting someone, just thank them when you arrive for their patience, is what I mean. Number two, good health for your spine means a mobile spine. What does that mean? Okay, so I know that people think of like yoga is for flexible people, but no, yoga makes you flexible. Like my spine, I feel like has good mobility, and even my joints have good mobility, and my muscles have good flexibility because I'm constantly working them. Even as I'm standing here right now, my feet are activated, my thighs are engaged. I'm not just, balancing on top of my bones and hoping that, this is what's going to carry me for the rest of my life. I know that when I move my spine, when I utilize them, when I'm actively working through all these different pieces of my body, that they're going to stay that way. So, we talked earlier about how if your nervous system is in good condition, right? Like your nerves go into your spine. So think about it like if your spine is not mobile, like you can't really like move, and it's tight, it's like clogged. Like think about the 405 on a weekday evening kind of thing. Like you just have all these neurons and trying to move up into your brain, but because you're so tight or the muscles are not as limber, things are not moving, they're not flowing. And so if this information is not getting passed up, it means it's not coming down, right? Like it's like the law of like physics, even right here, that when you keep your spine mobile, when your body is functioning optimally, right? Like I haven't even talked about fascia yet, right? Your fascia is the, I want to say skin, but it's actually a covering around muscle bundles and even around your organs. If those coverings are not hydrated and don't feel safe, then you're just going to have like so much more density in your body instead of fluidity. And what it is it like I think the human body is like 80-90% water. So think about it like that. Like we're really close to jellyfish, really close. But yet most people move through life like with this heaviness and weight. And, we are not here to be like rocks. We're kind of more like trees. Like, this is something funny that I say where we're kind of like house plants, right? We need a little bit of sun. We like to be indoors, we burn in the sun. So it's good to have both. But really, like the spine is our trunk. And the more it can move with the wind, right? If I bend, I don't break kind of thing. If our bodies are fluid, then the nervous system is actually going to be a lot more restful and regulated. And that is number two, to keep your spine mobile. Okay, this last one I love because I don't think people talk about it enough. It's that your nervous system feels co-regulated with other people. Humans are a social species. This is why I'm all about community. And even with my nonprofit Hike to Yoga, like, I don't believe that you can actually really regulate on your own. Like, we can co regulate with even the trees and with nature, with the birds, right? Even with your pets, right? But we co regulate with people. There's this quote by, I forget the name of the person, and he says that safety is not the absence of threats, but the presence of love and connection. This is why when you hang out with a friend that you trust or with family members that you grew up with, this is why you feel safety. That's why you feel recharged, because we are a social species, and more in our society, we are becoming isolated because it's just, we don't have to, right? You can work from home, you can order your meals and groceries, You can get anything you want at your fingertips wherever you are, and you don't have to depend on other people. But that was not the case for thousands of years. We talk a lot about villages, like every child needs a village. And I'm like, well, how about the adult? We need villages as well. And one of the things that I love to say is there is a study where it said we need 11 hugs a day for maintenance. When I first read that, I was like, are you serious? And I think about, when I go to events and I'm hugging people left and right, and I'm like, whoa, that's probably why I feel so good after. And it's insane to me how we live right now. I do believe that intentional community is really important because the longevity of your life is dependent on the quality of your relationships. And this is not something that money can buy. This is something that takes time, right? Like, I remember reading about Hurricane Katrina and how some of the only things that were standing were trees. And when you look underneath at where the roots were exposed, they were really like holding roots beneath the dirt and the ground, and everything got washed away. But they were standing tall because they were standing together. And that is part of why I do hike to yoga, because I believe that the more that we can hold hands together, I'm getting emotional about it because it's really true. It's true that we need each other for our nervous systems and to age gracefully because we're not meant to do everything alone. And yet here we are trying to do the opposite. So if this resonated with you and you want to go deeper, I invite you to my soft power 7-day initiation because in order to be in community, you have to be okay with yourself. You have to feel like you matter and you can rest. Because if you're going into community and judging other people from how you hold yourself to those high standards, nobody's going to want to be around you. Not because you're a bad person, because we can feel each other before we even open our mouths. And when we work on ourselves, it really is the beginning of world peace. So I really hope to see you inside Soft Power. And after you complete your course, you'll be invited to my self-care atelier and all the spaces that I don't share publicly. I hope to see you soon.